Welcome back, everybody. It's time to get ready for the finals here at Smite Masters. Got an extra person on the desk now. Tolly joining us after that excellent SML cast. Tolly, what's going on, dude?
Feeling good. You know, anxiety onset, feeling even better after that 2-0 victory. North America reigns supreme, at least in the minor league.
Exactly. But the Pro League, a different story. We've got two European teams in the finals. It's Team Dignitas facing off against Team Rival. And guys, they say that things come in threes. You know, celebrity deaths, casters on the desk, and worshippers right now. 3 times everything going on. Favor as well, fantasy points, XP. You can get it all right now. Tolly, Taco and I are very close to having Naja ranked 10. Who are you going to be grinding up?
I've had Naja ranked 10.
Oh, well, no, we're not trying to measure. You know, we're not measuring our Naja prowess.
One-upping your Naja
I'm just
worshipper
asking
history.
who is going to be your next diamond with your triple worshippers?
It's going to be the next Hunter. Probably going to go for Zyrhoes. I think he's like around rank 8 right now.
Perfect. That's time to get on your grind, Tolly. There you go. As well as you got to get ready for HRX. So start grinding for it now, at least if you want to buy tickets, because this is the best time to do it. A discount right now if you go to hi-rezexpo.com, November 16th through the 18th. We're partnering up with DreamHack Atlanta. It's going to be, what's the word? Dope. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of different words I could have used, but dope was the one that came to mind first. Buy your tickets right now. But you can't buy tickets for something that's coming up a little bit sooner. We've got our spring fling happening. We're excited to share some details with you about that soon enough. May 24th, though. Taco, don't worry. I've got one note here. We don't have any details for you, really. Just tune in May 24th, and then if you are very charitable towards donation, a $1,000 donation, you get to choose between Archon Thanatos and Poolside, and you also get a Smite avatar or the Paladin's title, The Giver, if you go over $10. The good thing is, at least for us, guys, I can be the bringer of good news. This one is going to be a little bit different, not quite as focused on the disgusting aspects or the messiness. Taco, back to reality. Here we go. No mayo.
Sorry,
okay?
I just still remember how much it burned in my nose.
I can see the mayonnaise, like Hellman's jars were in Taco's eyes right there. Like, what am I going to do? You can stick around. You don't have to, like, try and leave or anything like that. It's going to be a little bit messy. It's going to be a different pace this year, but we still think you guys are going to really enjoy it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And, of course, most importantly, it's still going to be going to charity. Very excited for that spring fling, as we always are. All right, that does it for our reads that we needed to get taken care of. So let's get right down into it. Rival versus Dignitas. Dignitas has been unbeatable so far this Smite Masters land. They are on your winner's side of the bracket and have made it look pretty easy doing so.
You were telling me about, you know, things come in threes. The victory that Dignitas had in Rival was a 3-0 sweep, but you can't forget that super regional performance where Rival came in clutch, 3-0ing Dignitas. But this is a more lax LAN, I would say, than super regionals, and this is where Dignitas really thrive. They start off the season hot, but for whatever reason, they kind of falter towards the end.
Well, Space Station was able to get themselves towards the final losers round there, the losers finals up against Rival, where Rival just got angry, kind of went Hulk mode on them, and they returned the favor with a 3-0. And by the way, don't be confused. You didn't miss a game or anything like that. That upper bracket said Dignitas is up 1-0. That is correct. They do have that 1-0 lead right now, but that's the advantage that they get from coming from the winner's side. No bracket reset. We're not trying to be out here until 2 a.m. doing 2 best-of-7s or anything like that. That's Dignitas' reward for playing so well all week long.
And Dignitas as well, or I should say Rival especially. You mentioned that they went Hulk mode against Space Station. I don't think that could be any more true. If there is one team that Rival 100% did not want to take any L's against this LAN, it was certainly Dignitas, because everybody's been saying it for the longest time throughout the spring split. Hey, Dig clearly has Rival's number. Dig has Rival's number, and Rival cannot stand being labeled as a team that has no responses.
Well, at the same time, they haven't, historically, they haven't beaten Dignitas ever. Since Dignitas is this team formed last year, Rival has never taken a set off them. They're looking to change that here today, but Dignitas stands in their way, and they are firing on all cylinders right now. Let's take a look at their pregame interview.
Dignitas, welcome back for the final day into the finals and still undefeated in the tournament. How are you guys feeling about how the tournament's gone so far?
I feel confident. I think the SSG set, we really messed up game 2 just in like our team play. And I think that was kind of evident even in our set against Rival. I think individually we're playing really well, but our teamwork still needs a lot of like clean up. Some of our decision making, like trying to end game 2 when we could have just taken the FGs safely, and just a few of those sieges. I think like game 3, we showed how patient we were. I think especially Trix played really patient on that game 3 siege, and I think that made things a lot easier. So I'd say the individual plays there, but we talked a lot last night about just cleaning up our teamwork.
Yeah, I think we need to make sure we listen to the call that made to be made.
So it's all about communication. Is that really where the breakdown was? You're just focusing on that?
We don't really have a shot caller. I think I tried to implement shot calling in like a few different people, but it just never really worked. And so it's a bit of like a group decision, A to B. But so sometimes, yeah, if someone like is trying to make a play, but someone makes a call, then like, oh, maybe I can just get this kill, and if it doesn't work out, it'll mess up the play for the team, like the objective or something. So there's a little bit of that, but as long as we like acknowledge it and work on it, then it should like be eradicated today, hopefully.
So outside of the mishap at Super Regionals up against Rival there, you've had Rival's number for the last year, even so far this tournament too. Is this just something that you expect to continue to happen? What is it that is the reason that you are so much better against Rival?
I think the main reason is the way we draft for first, and then the way we build as well. Like at Super Regional, we had like Deathwalker building Stone of Gaia, and it was super powerful, and we had no idea about it. So was Gladiator Shield as well. So I think as soon as we keep out in the meta and just keep going, like I think we're gonna win. Yeah.
We're talking a lot of X's and O's, but let's be real. You guys have done really good just by pushing your buttons. Trixtank has looked fantastic, and specifically jungle mid. I mean, Qvo and Zyrhoes are playing incredibly. Can you just talk a little bit about how your teammates are really doing well?
Zyrhoes usually, I think he gets focused a lot by most teams because he has a specific playstyle, like a farming playstyle. He doesn't really like to fight a lot early. But I've been really impressed by him. I think this is the best I've ever seen him play, honestly. Like that set yesterday really impressed me. He was just super clean, like didn't really make any mistakes. Is taking risks when he needs to, like he's rotating a little bit more. So, and I mean, Fred's just Fred. He'll always, I don't know, if he's confident in his picks, he'll be at that level. Whereas like this lane, he's confident. Valencia, he was confident. At Super Regionals, he wasn't confident in his picks. So that's showing here.
So Arkkyl, how do you fit in? I mean, you've got superstars, and you've risen to that level of superstardom yourself over time. But Qvo and Zyrhoes doing what they're doing. Do you feel overshadowed? Is that just a part of the game? How do you deal with that?
I believe at the first when I joined the team, I was like the rookie, you know, like I was not playing really well. I think it was like down to the communication as well. I was not confident in the comms. But now I feel really well in the team. I feel like I make a lot of good calls, especially the fire one, even the Wlfy. So yeah, I'm really confident now.
Final question then before we let you go. What is your prediction in terms of result today?
I don't think it's realistic. I think Rival are too good to come out and get stomped again. But I'd say that. But the first two games weren't stomps at all. Like they played really well and really aggressively, and they took risks from behind. And I think that's why you saw like it wasn't us misplaying those. Like maybe we could have played the sieges a bit cleaner, but they were playing really well. They just messed up the early game a bit and a few phases in the mid game. I think because we have the game advantage, maybe we drop one game and then we fix things up in draft if they have a surprise in the draft from yesterday or something. So I would say 3-1, so basically 4-1.
Yeah, I think they might invade our speed buff, I think.
Well, best of luck today. Thanks a lot for your time. Have a good day.
Dignitas feeling confident, and who could blame them after how well they've played over the last few days. But I think you hear the respect there for Team Rival. Despite the 3-0, not all 3-0s are created equally, and that was not a dominant stomp by Dignitas, despite the result.
A lot of back and forth action here. Dignitas couldn't really figure out a way to clean it up towards some of their Phoenix Sieges. They were even talking about some of their matches against North America specifically. So here at the finals, the grand finals, not the upper bracket finals, I don't expect another 3-0 clean sweep against Rival.
And just talking to Rival in general ever since their loss against Dignitas, I mean, the team took it like pretty heavily on themselves, but not in a sense to where it's going to impact their gameplay to where they'll perform poorly. It was a heavy motivational factor for Rival. It made them so hungry to try and find victory and their revenge against Dignitas here at LAN. And also, I think it's interesting because if you've had a chance to talk to Alpha Jekyll at all, the one thing that he keep saying yesterday is, we have a plan for tomorrow. And I am really curious as to what that ends up being.
I'm excited to see it as well, but Dignitas has historically, as I mentioned, really dominated Team Rival. Never dropped a set against them in the last 2 years. Totally, what do you think it is about this Dignitas team that gives Rival so much trouble?
Well, outside of the Super Regionals where Dignitas struggled quite heavily against that one, it was definitely a lot of back and forth action between them in Valencia, but during online portions, Dignitas always seems to dominate Rival, and everyone has their arch enemy because you look at Energy, they couldn't really defeat one side, whereas Rival defeated Energy, so there was like that little trifecta between those top 3 teams taking games off of another. It's like a rock, paper, scissors almost matchup.
Of course, forgetting there that the incredible set that Rival had against Dig at Super Regionals, it sent them down to the losers bracket, really sent them into a spiral that I think forced them to miss Worlds. But as Totally mentioned, Taco, online Dignitas has always given Rival trouble, and they seem to be doing the same here. Is it just that Dig doesn't seem to get roped into a lot of what Rival likes to do. Rival likes to play a little bit of a different style than most other teams, will play it slow, then really fast all at once. Dignitas seems to me like the metronome of Smite teams, where you know where they're going to be, and they're just going to be consistent, and they're going to be better than you at that. For
the most part, Rival has probably found a lot more success as well in recent years because of the fact that they tend to be the trendsetters for Europe. They're usually whatever janky kind of stuff they're playing towards or bringing out in scrims or at LAN events, and even during the online portions, the teams are forced into learning how to respond to them appropriately. And I think that Dignitas, because of the fact that they have this superstar roster in a sense, they're actually able to adapt a little bit quicker than most. And I think that pointing out in the interview even where they stated that it depends a lot on how Qvo's feeling in his picks, that couldn't be more clear whenever you watch Dignitas in their play, because I can definitely see the drastic differences between Qvo from that one bad performance at the Super Regionals especially, and every other time that he's ever had to step it up. I mean, him and Zyrhoes have just been such a dynamic duo throughout the entirety of this Masters LAN event, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon.
Well, Team Rival's got their work cut out for them. They're going to try and bounce back against Team Dignitas after that 3-0 set victory yesterday. Let's take a listen to see what they had to say before the game on how that's going to go.
Hey, what's good? Welcome back, guys. Alpha Jacqueline Wlfy here from Rival. First question is, this is one of the first times that we've done double elimination. You're coming from the lower bracket. How is that different than all the other lines that you've played?
It's just different in the fact that they've got the 1 game advantage going in. It also feels a tiny bit different in terms of emotion, I suppose, because you're going into it having already lost, so there's no pressure on you to do well, considering most people will think that you're going to lose again.
How hard do you think this best of 7, just to, not against Dignitas or whatever, but just playing this many games, is that going to be difficult mentally or physically? Are you worried about that at all?
I don't think so at all. Considering we played 6 games yesterday and we bounced back, I think it's going to be, of course, we're going to be fine.
We've seen you play pretty much a consistent strategy, kind of the same picks in mid, the same picks around. We can see you guys play through the same players. You've already lost against Team Dignitas doing that once. Is there anything radically different that we should expect this weekend?
Well, having looked back at the VODs over the weekend yesterday, something clicked for us against Dignitas, and yeah, you are going to be seeing something different today.
Not all 3-0s are created equal. That is to say, I don't think that you guys got completely blown out of the water against Dignitas yesterday. You did some things well that, like you said, maybe you can take something from that. Does that give you... Are you lacking on confidence going into this game, especially considering the fact you just got 3-0'd?
No, not at all. I mean, they're our screen partners. We're expecting if someone is going to be taking the win, is going to taking the win hard as well. I think considering how bad the early games were in all 3 games, I think we played quite decent, I suppose. If not well, it's unfortunate how everything turned out, but I mean, it was okay. We are going to be looking to hopefully win the set this time.
You guys have been fan favorites for a long time. Even when you weren't as good as you are now, a lot of the personality on the team comes forward, and fans are seemingly always in your corner. After the loss this weekend, kind of a different response from the public. How do you guys handle that, watching the outside public kind of react negatively to the loss?
I like calling people out at all times and showing my my true skin, I suppose.
We showed them the back of the hand.
All right, well, what are you going to show against Dignitas? They're up 1-0 based on the format, so they're already off to a 1-game advantage. What do you expect the final set count to be?
4-1.
I think it's going to be 4-2, maybe 4-3. Obviously in our favor.
All right, guys. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Man, I can't wait. Alpha Jackal with the cliffhanger of the day for sure. They've got a strategy, and they're ready for Team Dignitas. I'm not going to ask you guys to predict what that strategy is, but where do you think Rival should switch it up?
Keep in mind the last time Rival said something like this, we ended up with the Ares Athena solo lane special at DreamHack Valencia. So it really could be based in any of those directions, but I would probably lean more towards some kind of wacky solo lane pick that they're just going to rely on Deathwalker to whip out.
A lot of energy and confidence from that man on your screen right there. Wlfy was talking about how the endurance physically, mentally was not a factor yesterday as they got swept and then returned the favor onto Space Station Gaming. So I'm not expecting any sort of downfall or any slowing down rather from Rival. They're going to come out firing strong. In the solo lane particular, Deathwalker versus Variety has been a very historical matchup in Season 4.
Despite black and purple being the colors for Team Rival, they seem to feel like green is their lucky color. Saw Deathwalker's wearing a green undershirt. Wlfy has his long sleeve green shirt underneath the jersey as well. Wasn't wearing it yesterday. He claims that was the problem for Team Rival. I don't know if Ice is wearing the green shorts he had earlier on, but
same with the hat.
Same with the hat.
Ice didn't have his hat.
Does he have it today?
Not sure. I actually haven't seen
We
it
need
today.
to get to the Rival team camera as soon as humanly possible to make sure that Ice will have his hat on. If he doesn't, then they could be in some trouble. He's got his hat. All right, pack it up. We're good. 4-1, Rival, your victors in the I kid, of course. But clearly, I mean, we joke, but I can say, as someone who played at LAN, the little superstitions for your team, they help, don't they, Tolly?
Yeah. When I used to be with Team Dignitas, we had our own little ways to get used to some games. Can't really say it here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I'm allowed to ask you about that, am I?
Feel like we can take some educated guesses as to some of those
almost
old
certainly can.
Lazarus traditions.
Yes, exactly. Well, new traditions trying to be formed by the new Team Dignitas. We're ready to get into it. The finals here, the grand finals at Smite Masters between Dignitas and Rival. And Dig sticking to what they've done against Rival here so far at Masters. The Raw ban early on. They have banned Raw against Wlfy every game now. This is their 4th time facing off against Rival here at Smite Masters. 4 consecutive Raw bans.
Not surprised to see this Terra being banned away. Just a lot of control. Leaving Giannis available for Zyrhoes if he really wants it, but he's very flexible in his god pool. Has the Thoth under his thumb. The mobility, though, from this god, you really want to make sure that QvoFred, when he plays aggressive, you can also bail him out.
Giannis, the first selection here for Dignitas. This has been a priority pick in this matchup. Whenever Dignitas has gotten it, they've looked really, really hard to stop. In Game 3 of their earlier set, Rival took the first pick and then banned in order to first pick it for themselves, but this time Zyrhoes gets it back.
And also, it's just a little fun to point out, this is the 7th game in a row now in the past few sets that Rival has played that Raw has been banned against them. So it's kind of crazy.
Well deserved. Wlfy's Raw is at that level. Rival just plays so well around it, I think, is the big thing. Not only is Wlfy a phenomenal shot on the Raw, Rival sets up for him well. I saw a lot of criticism yesterday that Wlfy only hits when he's set up for. Of course he's going to hit when he gets set up for, but he also, does no one remember the 3-man just blind snipe that he hit the other day? I mean, this dude doesn't need setup every time.
He's got a lot of accuracy. He does wait for setup, as you should, as a mid-mage in particular, but when an opportunity is presented for him, he will certainly take it. Sobek, a lot of control for Rival. They love to have that mid-game dominance with that crowd control. Nemesis will definitely lean towards iceicebaby's early game aggression.
Nemesis as well for Ice, yeah. So taking a priority pick away from Dignitas, the Circuit is banned, the Nemesis is banned, but Qvo can easily just go Raven here if he wants it, right, Taco?
Qvo could go Raven. There's also the possibility that Dignitas could pick up like a Colin, maybe even if they're expecting that it'll be Deathwalker on the Sobek. I would probably say it would be a Sobek solo, and Rival are just securing this pick early on because it's relatively safe, doesn't really have too many issues faring or at least securing their blue buff in the solo lane, whether they're getting ganks or not. And I think that also Sobek is just going to be able to provide a lot of setup potential and a lot of interruption, which is exactly what you want. And Nemesis is meant to more so cause chaos in a team fighting environment.
I like the fact that during the LAN meta, we're seeing a shift in certain roles, and Rom has been seeing a little limelight. It was yesterday, I believe, where Arkkyl soloed Vote on the Jingwei around that level 4 marker. Feeling very confident going back to it. We were alluding to the options, and Robin, very safe, very aggressive at the same time. I think QvoFred is very confident with this pick.
Giannis Robin for Zyrhoes and QvoFred, and I think all of the Smite community lets out one in unison, oof, because that is going to be difficult for Rival to handle. This has been the premier gods for these two guys, alongside Cirquet for Qvo, but Zyrhoes on the Giannis and Qvo on the Robin. Rival, the good news for Rival is that they have to have been ready for these two picks. You know, if you're leaving those open against Dignitas, that they are getting locked in. That's one of Dig's, if only, weakness, is that they are predictable in picks and bans.
I think that's exactly why we saw the Nemesis as an immediate response, probably hoping that Dignitas would go for the Robin, because Nemesis at least can make sure that Robin doesn't have as much all-in dive potential, because if you try to full commit and then you get slammed with the Nemesis ult in return, you're going to get blown up before you had the chance to do it to whoever you're against.
And Hachiman is a safe option to get away from the Robin. The mounted archery doesn't need to be used for the damage or the slow. It covers so much distance that you're able to escape against a lot of gods, but can't really escape against the portals depending where you are.
It's going to be difficult to do so. Isis banned away from that man on your screen, Wlfy. He is the mid laner for Team Rival, and has been a big part of their success so far in the spring split. And by extension, whenever you get credit for your success, you kind of got to take some blame whenever you have some downfalls. And Wlfy did not have the best set against Team Dignitas, but if there is one thing Wlfy has, it is confidence, and he has that in bunches. I don't think that set shakes that at all from him.
Even despite all the criticism he's received for his Poseidon play, he definitely shrugs it off, and he's able to still continue to play his game. And that's a factor of the teammates around him, the coach around him, that they don't feel as that was a hindrance whatsoever. They feel that he could play whatever.
Aphrodite locked in here by Rival. Dignitas played it earlier. That was against Space Station, where it was Aphrodite solo. This could be just Sobek support. I think all of us were penciling in Sobek for the solo lane, but I think Rival could be trying to give Dig a taste of their own medicine.
And that's exactly, it seems, the thought process here for Rival. I do feel as though that's a pick selection that Dignitas would have certainly opted for, but it is very weird, I would say, how Rival would let Odin through when Odin is so strong against every single one of their god pick selections.
Now, I completely agree with you. The Kukulkan ban, sure. Kukulkan has been dominant so far during this LAN. But why not just ban Kukulkan first and then ban Odin instead of the Amma? Is Amma really that scary here?
They were worried about the double mobility. You got Giannis on one side, Amaterasu on another. You will never disengage from Dignitas on the aggressive.
It's only going to be Dignitas running away from you if they don't like the fight. We saw a lot of that actually in Game 2 between Dignitas and Team Rival, where Rival, they would get targets low on multiple occasions, but they could never really confirm a kill because everybody from Dignitas was just so mobile they got out immediately.
Does it surprise you guys that, I mean, you heard Alpha Jackal and Dignitas say it in the interview, it was the early game that was the problem for Rival against Dig in games 1 and 2 rather of their last set. They don't go early game at all here. In fact, they go very late game with this draft. Does that surprise you at all?
Not really, honestly, because the late game is what wins you games at the end of the day. That's why Rom was selected for Dignitas. I still gotta favor Dignitas in terms of the way they play the game. I think they're gonna be looking for those invades early, not allow Aphrodite to even be a factor.
I'd say it caught me a bit off guard. I've always felt as though Rival are a team that hasn't been like the others for a while now. They're the ones that they don't care how weird their picks might look because all they ever cared about was their team execution. Sure. I really like this draft up until I saw the Odin, though, from Dignitas. I think that Dig are just going to have a little bit too much pressure because of it.
Well, can Dignitas extend the lead in this series? They're already up 1-0 because they are coming from the winner's side. Rival going to try and even it up here. Let's go to the casters. It's Hindu Man and F.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Des. Going to be an interesting one this time. Last time we saw these two teams in the finals was Masters Valencia, I guess.
Yeah. It's been a while since we've seen them in the finals, but of course we already see these guys play against each other. Last time around, Rival kind of got manhandled by Dignitas, hoping for a different outcome this time.
Well, into game we go. You guys at home, make sure you're voting in chat to let us know who you think will win this one. Trixtank will be playing the Odin, so it's Variety on the Jing 10 against Deathwalker's Aphrodite.
You know, it's interesting. I think that I would say no surprise that it's Trixtank on the Warrior and the Guardian and the Solo, but Xing Chen is definitely a Warrior-style Guardian, and at the same time, obviously Odin does very well against Aphrodite, so I think this is actually very interesting that we see this switch up, and I think it's intentional because there's no way Dignitas were surprised by where this Aphro went.
Look at the right-hand side of the map right now, and you can see Jing 10, Variety, looking to try and proxy between Tier 1 and Tier 2 potentially, and Deathwalker's just going to stand there, make sure this vision and deny this opportunity to try and proxy the wave. Variety could still do it, but he'll take a lot of poke for trying to attempt it.
Exactly. So Variety is going to opt for the safe clear instead. Deathwalker doing a good job of just standing there. And very interesting because Variety, we saw him play the Aphrodite recently, but I think it's important to mention that that was Variety's old style. He was known for the healers. So to bring them back out is sort of a throwback. Deathwalker, on the other hand, I'm not sure how familiar he is with this character. With that said, DW has made a name for himself on playing the weird stuff, so no doubts in my mind that he can do it.
Well, the fans at home definitely favoring Dignitas, and rightly so with how yesterday continued for Dignitas. 3-0 Rival is a best of 7, but Dignitas, because of their win yesterday, do have this one-game advantage.
Exactly. The traditional way is a little bit more elongated, but right now, kind of short exchange here. Arkkyl in trouble. He's going to be chased down, Hinduman.
Yeah, Arkyl's in a lot of trouble, and there's the banner coming down from Vote. First blood. The body block. That's all it really was. Callus realized that was a free kill.
I really liked that play by Trixtank. Very important stuff. He blinks in front of the enemy behind his teammate to body block all of the nonsense. And that was actually an extremely mechanically sound play. The problem was the death blow was an ability that can't be body blocked, so kind of oh well, but really, really clean from Trixtank despite his Hunter falling.
So Dignitas get the purple but lose a life, and now on the other side of the map they're looking to try and secure this Rival. Unable to steal it. Well, they do steal it away from Trixtank, but Trixtank's one hit from death. The banner won't be enough this time, however. This could have been brutal for the dual lane if Trix fell there too.
What a change here from the first time we watched. Last time Dignitas faced Rival, QvoFred just started off early with this Robin selection and kind of never slowed down. This time it's Rival sort of getting off to the first step, and I think they're very happy about that because they haven't been able to find that first step versus Team Dignitas all week.
Definitely a couple of picks that we've not seen out of Rival in quite a while. The Discordia in mid lane for Wlfy, and of course the Aphrodite in the solo lane for Deathwalker. We've seen a couple of players do that, Zalian, Variety specifically, but not Deathwalker.
The Aphrodite's so powerful. Now, everybody looks at Aphro and immediately thinks of the heal, but this character is much less about the heal and more about the ultimate and the pure damage. Back off, very important.
iceicebaby on this right-hand side, going to aggress onto QvoFred in the jungle. Has to be respectful of Zyrhoes though, and as soon as he sees that, he backs up a little bit more so, realizing he can't contest this. Pressure in mid, however, is in Rival's favor, but there's not much to really get in the jungle.
Touching back on this Aphrodite, basically we're going to see a very defensive build come out, and then a Soul Reaver. And the whole gimmick is she connects to Iceicebaby, Ice Ice blinks, and the burst damage of the Soul Reaver proc and everything else is really big.
Well, let's have a look back at this first blood, and you can see Arkkyl was just busy focusing the purple buff. Didn't respect Vote and Callus just whacking on the back of them. Trixtank's play, as you said, it was good. It wasn't good enough to save his teammate's life.
Yeah, the banner just goes through, but that was such a cool play. I really kind of rooted for it just because how important and how nice it was, body blocking those basics, but the banner doesn't really care who's standing in front of who, so down goes Arkkyl for the first blood. The only kill so far. Dignitas, I want to see QvoFred be a little proactive. He can't kind of just sit here, and now level 4 backing to base. He's going to buy probably the boots, and I expect to see him make some moves.
Yeah, you can see Rival with a bit of a lead in terms of gold right now. It's around 700, and that's mainly just down to that first blood and continuing to farm up. Not a big swing as how the early game is in Season 5 of Smite, but it's a nice little indicator of Rival are here to play.
Trixtank gets plucked. Easy jump away, no problem for the Warrior support, and that's going to be nice in the mid to late game as he controls Deathwalker. I mean, all of these characters are kind of susceptible to the Odin cage. Obviously, Deathwalker is the first one to look at, but Sobek, who's been so dominant throughout the spring split, really gets shut down by that cage. I love this Odin choice from Team Dignitas.
Excited to see how Rival do with the Discordia in mid lane too. Zyrhoes has played it a couple of times this tournament. We spoke to him off air. He's been a big proponent saying that Discordia, he prefers it over a lot of the mid lane gods, even though he chose the Giannis first.
I specifically like the Discordia into Team Rival because Kalas likes to play that Ares. I think it does very well against that pick.
Oh, Trixtank in a very awkward spot there. Just didn't notice the wraparound. No ward vision there available for Dignitas to know this was coming. The jungler turns up. The jungler gets a kill.
Easy one right there for Team Rival. Pretty much no problem. And Wlfy on the Discordia, taking that away from Zyrhoes? Question mark? Not really here. I'm sure Zyrhoes is totally fine playing that Giannis. I love the Giannis specifically with the Robin, allowing Robin to go dive that backline and give him an escape route should he need it.
Sure, the dual lane, though, for Rival, I think they're the ones that have really stood out this tournament, specifically Kalas and Vult, having a very good tournament for themselves. They put a lot of pressure on to a lot of people. That little look at the speed buff was because Rival did just look to steal... Sorry, Rival did lose their speed buff, I should say, to Dignitas on that right-hand side.
QvoFred here, level 6 now. It's going to be the Oracles, Team Dignitas, and you see this is pretty standard, that teams that not losing, not far behind, right? It's like first blood plus a little bit extra. Team Rival, I wouldn't say, are significantly in the lead, but Team Dignitas want to prevent that from becoming larger, so the Oracles become very, very important. That camp is kind of hard to kill, and so we see junglers kind of forget about that for a while until this 5, 6, 7 minute mark, because Dignitas are very afraid of Rival taking their small lead and turning it to a larger one by way of the Gold Fury, so the losing team is usually much more interested in that vision that the Oracles provide.
And the vision is the real key, not just of the Gold Fury, but the rotations available from iceicebaby to that left-hand side. They can monitor it a little bit easier without having to invest some gold into some additional wards on that side of the map. Trixtank now level 5, and this with a blink in his inventory means that he can start to look for some aggression. Plenty of targets available for him. Wlfy can escape the ring, however, but he's going to have to play it well.
Don't forget, this early game Odin also going to bring a ton of damage. The base stats on Odin's lunge and the shields, we lovingly call it the bird bomb. Shout out to my old partner, Kret. That's really big damage in the early game with or without powerful items. So if he can combine with Cuvo and jump on somebody, that can be problems for Rival, but looks like it's going the other way. 4 players in Dignitas' jungle.
Look how relaxed QvoFred was there. Gets ulted, continues walking, turns around, takes a little scan and goes, really? I'm good. Thanks a lot. One quick overhead kick, avoids the banner, and now the turnaround is here.
Trixtank gonna blink in and lock 2 players on the left-hand side. Damage coming in from Arkkyl, but it's Vote that's taking care of QvoFred. Here comes Zyrhoes right through the portal, and the jump is good, but in the sky rains the shots.
One more shot is all it needs, but he can't find it. Kalas jukes it out nicely. In the end, Rival escaped without losing a casualty, and Cuvo felt he disappeared.
Cuvo just got blown up. Shoutouts to Vote showing up at the right time. Didn't even need the ultimate there.
I actually think a lot of that first blood came into play there, Tom, because of the fact that Vote had full boots online in that engagement. Maybe an extra bit of a power spike with the Warrior Tabby than would have expected.
It's actually very interesting. You just saw that graphic come up. Dignitas actually exert more damage than Rival does in total. The problem was a lot of that damage was on Kalas. You can see him still in the yellow, and it was kind of spread out, whereas Rival put all of their damage into one player. So QvoFred drops and nobody else is touched, whereas a couple of players on Rival were left low, but nobody really hit 0.
Here's another look at that kill from Vo's point of view. He gets trapped in the ring, turns his attention back round towards QvoFred, who's just getting beaten in the back of his head by Cuvo the entire time.
And I mean, keep in mind, I mean, that's also a attack speed reduction for Vote.
Yes.
So he did that through the Odin cage. Eesh.
Well, it doesn't affect abilities, though, which is good. So he did get that banner down for most of that damage there. Oracle's due to spawn, and Dignitas already setting up for that. Zyrhoes, level 9.
That's actually a big point, is that Vote's going to have a nice look with that banner. Of course, his teammates, if they stand in it, also going to get that advantage. So Odin, always thought of as the anti-healer, but that attack speed reduction, really huge. If I'm not mistaken, 40% at max level. So when you're stuck in there as a hunter and a nemesis, don't forget about her. It's a really big deal. 60%, my mistake. That's even huge.
60%, but that's at max rank, and as a support, very tricky to get there. Your 40% is accurate, Tom, because
that's kind of where the support's going to end up being.
Yeah, you're going to see that more often than not, which is probably why I went there. But the main point is the banner is going to counteract that Odin nonsense.
Mid lane, focus onto Cuvo, going to overhead kick the pluck out of Callus. Nicely timed there. So no additional threat for the time being. Both the mid laners working towards, well, iceicebaby working to complete in his boots, whereas Zyrhoes working towards that Chronos pennant. Rushed the boots earlier on.
How do you know it's not around Tahuti?
Just because Chronos pennant is so good on Giannis.
No, I'm just
I know you're playing with me, but I'm like, I'll explain it.
Yeah.
I mean, once upon a time, you may have seen a run or two heat and rush if a team was very confident, but not these days. The passive, completely different.
The Chronos pendant is really nice because it has 100 power. This item used to just be supplemental for the cooldown reduction, but I talk ad nauseum about how that first item for the mage has to be a power bank or a battery, like I call it. And you need, I think, a minimum of 100 power on that first item.
And there's a lot of items.
Warlock Staff, Bancroft, Chronos Pendant fits in nicely in that selection. And for a character like Giannis, who needs his abilities up, not just for damage, but for utility as well, it's, I think, maybe objectively the correct call.
And in theory, I mean, Giannis technically does have 2 damaging abilities, excluding his ultimate. The portal can be used for damage, but you want to use that for survivability more so. So having that cooldown for the unstable, very useful.
You know, you say that, and it's funny, because Zyrhoes and Baskin are the only 2 people I've ever seen use the ultimate offensively and have it work.
This fight's still going on the left-hand side because there's a rotation coming. Cubo, when Zyrhoes has turned up and Vote is in trouble. Arkkyl won't find the last snipe because he was already dead. Zyrhoes with the kill.
That's the response that you need. Team Dignitas not really concerned with a first blood and a couple of follow-up kills as long as they know that that's coming. We spoke to them at length about the mid lane specifically, and North America has a very quick early game pressure. They play with the Hunters, and Rival, although they didn't play with the Hunters, are also looking for that early game pressure. Dignitas said straight up, we are not concerned about that. We'll wait till the late game and the mid game, and level 11, Giannis finally stepping up. This is a big deal because Zyrhoes, rather, is known to just sit there in lane and farm and then make the rotation to make the impact, and that's why.
But look at the timing. His Chronos pendant was already completed when that first gank happened. So Dignitas starting to get a bit of steam now. You saw Variety even rotating from the solo lane, looking to rotate towards the mid, apply a bit of pressure.
And the great point is Wlfy actually was involved, despite the lack of assists. Wlfy was involved in that first blood. Ice left side looking for Arkkyl.
Arkyl's really low here. No real escape route. His ultimate cooldown, he could have beads that, but chose not to. Space and time up again. Won't be able to get in range this time, Zyrhoes, my friend. Back to mid you go.
Great ward from Team Rival. You see it's exactly in the Giannis pathway where Zyrhoes is going to fire that ultimate. Not a mistake either, because you can fire that Giannis ultimate and bluff. Just having those portals come out, you don't need to make the rotation. By having those wards at the same spot that Zyrhoes has ulted because he chooses the same route most of the time, having those wards there specifically means that Dignitas can't bluff. They have to make the hard rotation. Rival would have kept pushing there if the players didn't come through those portals. So very important that Dignitas actually pull through, but I love the vision coming out from Rival.
Well, it's now up to Vote to start to apply some pressure. He's got 3 kills in this game, been involved in all 4, as the focus has been on the dual lane by both teams so far. Surprised we're not seeing any pressure onto this Aphrodite at the moment, but then again, it is up against the Jing 10, so it will be mainly a farm off there.
I'm really not that surprised at the lack of attention to Aphrodite, frankly, because I think we see the same thing with Hell and Hebo to a lesser extent, where you can kill them 7 times, but at the end of the day, if Afro gets that Soul Weaver online, whatever happened beforehand doesn't matter.
This is big though. Deathwalker going for the Phantom.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the upgraded version reduces damage, gives some damage mitigation, but no beads and Aegis on an Afro? That feels risky to me.
You say that, but beads on Afro always feels a little disingenuous because the ultimate is going to be able to be used as beads. You can use it preemptively or even while crowd controlled, and recently you can even use that while knocked up. One of the only abilities you can actually do that in the game. So while Variety goes for the pancake flip, she can actually use that ultimate to negate the CC and the follow-up damage from Dignitas. yes, this is a little bit scarier than if she had those, sure, but she has the tools to work without them.
Well, maybe she goes for a Magi's Cloak later on. That could potentially help her out in that scenario. We'll find out if they do.
The problem is, with the Afro build, it's really set in stone. You've got these first 3 specific items. The next 2 have to be Rod of Asclepius and then into the Soul Reaver in order for her to do what she does.
Trixtank rotating around mid lane, meets Wlfy. iceicebaby blinks onto Wlfy and Ice Ice, drops the ring down, space and time through, didn't find a home, but Zyrhoes eats a lot more damage than bargained for. The apple hits Arkkyl, who takes to the sky and looks to try and pick up Wlfy.
Arkyl's gonna get flipped up and Ice Ice puts him in the freezer. Trixtank in trouble. That's 2 votes cooking with fire. 6-1 is Rival. And they're looking for QvoFred lightly, more importantly, at the Gold Fury.
Well, Space Station, sorry, the space and time is down. I said space station because it was like space station. Space and time is down, so this makes it a little bit trickier. Zyrhoes has to get
25.
in with the unstable vortex. Gonna look for the damage. As right, blinks in, gets the damage off, forces the reset. Callus plucks in, but in onto Callus they go.
1 shot, and that'll be QvoFred's. Callus falls down. Variety in trouble, very low. Does get ticked by the birds, but his HP 5 is gonna be strong. Zyrhoes with
close.
the most. Ooh, I didn't even like that blink. Variety might fall here, but a little bit too tanky at this point.
Doves didn't connect there. I think if the Doves would have hit, would have been a different story. The good news for Dignitas, though, is that they didn't lose the gold. They did manage to force the reset.
This is also a point in time where you're not afraid of Aphrodite. Aphrodite is just built full tank, and she does virtually nothing outside of the ultimate. Once she has those 2 power items online, that's when she becomes scary, because knockback, back off, is big.
They know this is going on. Vote is the only one here to try and defend, though, trying to do whatever he can to stop this going, but Dignitas get the gold and look to run away.
Great play by Dignitas, understanding that they created the space earlier in that middle lane. Arkkyl, or excuse me, Vote shows up, but Hachiman's not the guy that's going to steal that away from you, especially when you've got Trixtank.
Variety in trouble, now surrounded by all 5 members, but one quick dash and he's back to the safety of his tower. No further follow-up available, but the whole of Rival swinging towards that Pyro.
Fine. Take the Pyro. I call it the consolation prize for a reason. Shoutouts Arkkyl. Look at him on the left side of the map, understanding that his team doesn't need him here going for the tower.
Little bit early from Zyrhoes there, but you got the
what a
idea
perfect.
with that space and time.
I'm so happy. I'm just so happy because there's value in knowing what to do and go for objectives, but there's a potentially bigger value in knowing when to leave it alone.
And the graphs kind of dictate that. I mean, the Gold Fury went in the way of Dignitas, and then that was the Pyromancer included.
Who cares? Who cares? And because Arkkyl got the 500 from the tier 1 tower, as soon as that exchange goes, Dignitas makes sure to get the hell out of there so they don't get punished, and the traditional response is for the defending team to look for the tier 1 tower in the middle lane. Dignitas do a good job of stemming that team rival without Arkkyl, and Arkkyl just goes to work. He goes, look, you guys don't need me in the middle lane. Who cares if they get the Pyromancer? I will both get my own farm and make sure that we can answer back by putting the gold in our own pockets. Wonderful decision making by the Hunter on Team Dig.
You're starting to see Rival, though, already starting to group up a little bit earlier than you would normally see. I guess they're a little bit worried about the Giannis rotations, which have been making an impact. Obviously not to the extreme that Dignitas would like, but it has given them a window back in this game.
That's one of the Rival adaptations that I think that they mentioned that we'd be seeing. A lot of these teams kind of wait to go to the late game, and Dignitas do 2 things very well. 1, they play the late game, and 2, they can get QvoFred off to a good start. And the way he does that is looking for picks. Team Rival deny QvoFred's sort of pick mentality by consistently clumping together, specifically in this mid lane with Wlfy, Callus, and Ice Ice. It's almost reminiscent of yesteryear's meta, but by sticking 3 players together, you're just leaving QvoFred without many options.
Well, speaking of yesteryear's meta, Arkkyl building crit early on. He's one of the only hunters that really does this. He loves to go the rage soon after getting the Devourer's Gauntlets, whereas Vote, penetration, the executioner, one of the tried and true and tested methods for hunters.
When it comes down to it, Arkkyl wants to get this Rage Blade stacked up ASAP. His team only has 2 kills, so it might look a little shady. But again, this is the decision-making of the team to keep this at a low tempo. They want to keep it Adante, and then maybe in a couple of minutes, we'll get Allegro, and then we're going to go even faster after that. Arkyl's going to come in and make a lot of noise with those crits.
Trixtank goes in, looking to steal those away and apply a bit of pressure. And you saw Ice Ice trying to gank for Vote again in the dual lane, but the ward coverage a little bit better for Dignitas this time round. However, they're going to be late on the rotation for the Oracles, which are going to go the way of Rival.
Not a big deal. Gold Fury spawns in about 1 minute and 46 seconds. That vision only lasts for a little bit of time, so Dig can hit that Gold Fury after that vision's denied, and they'll be fine.
Also, Wlfy in the mid lane as well, going for the Spear of Desolation. Don't see that too much, but the penetration and the ridiculous amounts of power that will give is going to be very useful.
I'm smiling. I'm just very happy. Me and Ryan were on the call earlier in the week when Team Rival kind of lost off of what both of us really attacked. We were very critical, and honestly, I don't take that cast back. I stay by my stance that Wlfy's build arguably lost them the game. Lack of penetration was a really big deal. Wlfy and the guys looked back and made the change.
Well, we'll come back to that later on, but at the moment, we're going to watch QvoFred get away from the gank from iceice. Vote is swinging from the back. No continued chase, though. Even though the mounted archery was available and Deathwalker was on the way, they decided to give up the chase there, just knowing Qvo would have to base.
Eyesight's ultimate is much more important than the Robin's right now. Wlfy's also going to be on cooldown, but I need that Nemesis ultimate for the team fight. Robin ultimate is a luxury. Nemesis' ultimate is a necessity.
Four-man group from Rival looking for the tier 1 tower in response to the one Dig got early. It's going to force Variety over with the teleport. His lane's fine, though, still pushing minions into the tower as he got over here a little bit quicker than that of Deathwalker. But this is all about the Gold Fury, Tom. Yep. That's why everyone's starting to group up.
Exactly. About 20 seconds till that one spawns, and both of these teams about even right now. So that Gold Fury at 20 minutes, that'll be a big separation moment. So both of these squads looking at that objective with wide eyes.
Zyrhoes with a level lead as it stands right now as he heads back to base over Wlfy in the mid lane, farming very well for himself alongside the two solo laners who have been left unchecked the entire time, which means their builds are getting towards fruition a lot quicker.
See right there, we see the Gold Fury spawn and the vision from the Oracle's already over. So that's why Dignitas didn't really care. They knew the timing. It's going to be much more about the ward fight, or screw it, it's just about, we'll take it in front of your face. Rival got it halfway.
Lock on Zyrhoes, that's going to get the beats out of the Giannis early on. Gold Fury reset, Arkkyl in the sky, sniping out Wlfy. All 3 hits, going to force Wlfy back momentarily, and in goes Trix.
He's going to catch 3 in the ring. Kala's in trouble, Variety's here, but the damage dealers haven't shown up yet. Zyrhoes goes up and going to cut down Kalas a little bit, but QvoFred, damn it on the back line. Trouble for Vote, and the big jump from the Odin is huge, but V-Man turns it around.
Vote is still too strong, but he will go down to Arkkyl. Zyrhoes takes out Kalas with the unstable Vortex, and Deathwalker has to limp back to the tier 2. Dignitas come up big in that engagement. Tom, what went wrong?
Mystic Rush did the job that it needed to do. QvoFred jumps on the back line with the ultimate, and he gets all that damage reduction. Rival do the arguably correct thing in isolating him, but they put so much into him that 2 players on their side wound up falling to the wayside.
A lot of pressure onto the remaining members of Rival as they try to reset the Gold Fury and do so, but maybe they've extended a little bit too much. Zyrhoes very low as his iceicebaby still connected to Deathwalker, but the heal broke off, and iceicebaby will fall down to Variety.
Love the way Dignitas did that, and I think this is kind of a note to Team Rival that they can't take Dignitas' strategies and try to play it against them. Deathwalker on the Aphrodite. Now, Team Dignitas did give proper credit to Obey. They brought up the Aphrodite first, and also the builds, which is so important to why this character could actually work out. But Team Rival take this and say, look, if you're going to do it, we can do it too. Dignitas play around it perfectly. It's not about the heal. I don't know how much I can say that. It's all about the back off and the ultimate.
What? Hello?
Hello.
Fire Giant attempt from Dignitas. Nobody on Rival are expecting this. They've got a ward down at the Gold Fury. Maybe they're losing Pyromancer. No, you're not losing Pyromancer. You're going to lose the Fire Giant.
This ain't an attempt. This is just a withdrawal.
Watch the faces. I want to see the face of the players. Vote. Deathwalker all just silent on the screen on the cameras.
Yeah, Vote's giving us the most that we've got. Vote's sitting there and he heard it, and he's definitely not happy. Man, you know what we have to do for next land, dude? I want like a picture-in-picture of the booth. Oh! Rival steal it away!
No, Rival was secured it. Variety tried to steal it away, but instead it may cost him his life. Little bit of greed from Variety there after getting the Fire Giant. The regen's helping him out. But that's going to slow the whole of Rival down, because Dignitas is on a Phoenix!
They're already doing this one. Down goes the right Firebird. Variety, love the play. Harry Cummings throwing his body on the line right there. First of all, I love the play. Forget about the Phoenix. I love the idea just to go for it.
I don't.
I do.
I don't, but if that was the idea to keep him more busy so you get a Phoenix,
Which it
that's
was.
where I like the idea.
Exactly.
Disagree on trying to steal it on your own for fun, Tom. This ain't no rank game. This is finals.
No, exactly. But the thing is that even though that Fire Giant was really impressive, if Rival get the Gold Fury, I don't care if you have a Fire Giant, right?
Sure.
It is a close game, and Rival picking up that Gold Fury keeps it close. If Dignitas steal the Gold Fury and have the Fire Giant, you're looking at an 8,000, 9,000 gold lead, and that's something that Rival have problems fighting into. With the 5,300 differential, Rival can fight into the Fire Giant and they don't care.
How about losing the Fire Giant? They've still got it around the waist for a considerable amount of time and have lost the Phoenix already. That puts more pressure on Rival now for defensive purposes. Because when you look at their squad, who realistically do you want to try and deal with the Fireman in Wave in the team fights? Afro, you wanted there right at the start. You don't want to teleport it in later on after defending.
And that's the thing with Aphrodite is that she's not the greatest at defending the towers. No, I keep saying that she's not about the healing. The healing will come into play there, but she's not like a Hell that's healing the whole team, and she's not like a traditional solo laner that has the control. She's got a singular stun and a singular heal. It's all about the damage that she brings, really.
iceicebaby wrapping around the side, just looking to de-ward more than anything else, but he's getting engaged on. Blink and ring by Trixtank means Ice is already dead. Through space and time will be the claimer of the kill.
Nice spacing coming out from Variety as well. He's going to loop around on the backside. Collis is in trouble. 40% HP on the Guardian. Trixtank taking up this tower. Not enough damage on the objective. There's the jump. Collis is not going to fall. It's Trixtank who jumps into the clutches
The
of Wlfy.
shell was just so good coming out from Rival there. And of course the Phantom upgrade, which reduces the damage done. Now we've done it 9-6. Is it though? Because what can Rival really get?
No, I meant that the relic was huge.
Oh, right, okay. I was like, the defense, I was
the
like, well.
Phantom, 15% damage mitigation is very, very big.
Shell.
It's not protections, folks. This is just flat out, if you get hit for 100, you're taking 15 less damage. Now, when you get hit, when you multiply that a whole bunch, that 15 grows into a huge number that isn't rivaled by protections or other stuff like that.
Just like to note as well, that through space and time, I believe that hit iceicebaby. I saw the number. I'm pretty sure it said 960. Around 960.
Yep.
Like, that's a huge swing with a through space and time already at 25 minutes in. Zyrhoes at relatively full build. Now still has to get rid of the Mage's Blessing for something. Plenty of options available. More than likely Soul Reaver.
I mean, right now it's giving him 10% CDR. And to be honest, that's an item that you can actually keep for a little while. I want to see him keep it until he can buy a full tier 3 item. I don't want to see him sell it for a tier 1 or a tier 2. Go all out, and like you said, Soul Reaver might be the do. Or E-Staff as well. That'll cut down a lot of the tankiness that Team Rival has.
But how tanky are they? I mean, it's only really Sobek that's tanky in this situation. Although a bit of defense on iceicebaby, but not the sort that's going to really affect Giannis. Definitely time will tell how this is going to work out for Rival, but that Fire Giant call, in all honesty, is what broke this game.
Absolutely. And that's the big change that Team Dignitas has made here in this spring split. I've been a big fan of watching these guys play because I think that they were the most mechanically sound team on the planet. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean the best team, but I think that also coincided sometimes during Season 4.
We sometimes talk, me and you, Tom, about like game 1, game 2 in finals and which one's the most important. Kind of goes back and forth. I'm always a big believer of game 2. I know you think game 1.
Yeah.
A little bit more so. Well, this is technically game 1 and game 2, considering the scoreline today.
In a traditional best of 7, I'm a big fan of game number 3, regardless of the score. I think that's sort of a halfway point where teams get a chance to sort of catch up with each other. That, of course, I'm taking from NBA. They don't have a one-game advantage. Here, a very big dynamic, a very different dynamic. I think this game is the most important because of the separation between the two teams.
Blinking from Trix, looking at Deathwalker, traps in the ring again. Phantom is available, being held onto as long as possible. Variety gets ulted by iceicebaby, and that's going to force him back. Everybody on Dignitas quite happy to hold this line for the time being and get the Pyromancer.
Can I see Trixtank real quick? I want to see the cooldown on the ultimate.
Maybe too long. I don't believe
He's got a
it
decent. Well, there you go. All right, 39 seconds. That's totally fine. That's why I liked him using that ultimate earlier, because it's just going to come up very, very soon. Use it quickly and often.
In goes Callus, but look how much damage he took from the crits from Arkkyl.
The ultimate comes through and cuts everybody in half, but it's all about QvoFred. giving the chase on a vote. The blink forward from Variety, chasing down the Hunter. Variety will take that one, but QvoFred with the double-un.
Meanwhile,
hot damn.
Zyrhoes is chasing iceicebaby through the jungle at the moment in the backside.
You see it?
The rest of Dignitas going to take the Phoenix on the right-hand side, more than likely here. Trixtank can tank this up for Arkkyl to pick it up.
Bro, iceicebaby's in this back jungle. iceicebaby's in the back jungle. Zyrhoes, wake up! Zyrhoes, wake up!
He knows he's more into because red buff is
He
way more
doesn't
important.
know, because if Zyrhoes knows that iceicebaby's there in his jungle, he stops the back and Dignitas win the game.
I think he lost where he went. He was chasing them originally, but just the juke out works. But instead, what's more important, kills or objectives? Fire Giant.
Dig wins the game if he stops that back. This is the safer play. Fire Giant. Nice.
9-10-9. Rival got off to a very good start in the duo lane. And we're doing well until around the Wlfy, but here's a little look at this whole engagement.
QvoFred just doing the work,
Oh, no,
and this
Space
is...
and Time did the work. It hit like 3 people.
But that's what Qvo does. Jumping on the back line and just giving them the hands, man.
The best thing Raven can do. So Fire Giant round the waist to Dig. They get a tier 2 tower in the mid lane. Back towards the Gold Fury. Just 2 Phoenixes remaining now for Rival. And after the start of this one, I expected Rival might start going off in this game. But all of a sudden, one Fire Giant call after a Gold Fury fight that came for naught for either side results in Dignitas controlling the game.
Shoutouts to the spectator right now, highlighting the gold in hand. Everybody on Team Dignitas, rich like Elon, and they're going to come through, buy their final purchases, and look for Graham. I think this is the final push. Dignitas have the game in their hands, and looking at the itemization across the way, we always talk about the stalemate. Team Rival need another 10 minutes to match the itemization that Dignitas have, and if Dignitas put the pedal to the metal, they've got the Fire Giant for at least 2 pushes, depending on how Rival play defense. I think this could be the final push for Dig, and we'll be moving on to Game 2.
I'm looking at the Soul Reavers. I think that's where the last breath of hope can hold for Rival here. 2 Soul Reavers online. 1 for Wlfy, 1 for Deathwalker, but they have to hit the prime targets at the right time here on these Phoenixes.
Zyrhoes here, going to clear out this, and this is a really big deal. I love Trixtank's positioning right here, making sure that nobody from Rival can jump on the back line. I want to see Trixtank initiate with an immediate Variety follow-up so that QvoFred can flank from the midline.
3 blinks available for Dignitas on this aggression. Instead, they're just going to walk up with Trix. Blink to the back, my side's looking for Arkkyl, who's going to have to roll away, but Trixtank has got the ring online.
Zyrhoes going to be able to get out and come back in. Not going to use that ultimate just yet. And again, Dignitas are playing around the Aphrodite perfectly. They're looking at Rival and saying, we do this. We know how to avoid the back-off damage. Walk away.
But iceice has used his ult, has used both his relics, so iceice is going to be very careful here. Variety on the front side doing good work to allow Callis to take some chops. Trixtank goes in, tanked it up a bit more. Fall back from Dig once more.
Phoenix full HP, biggest important point there, Graham.
Yeah, the big thing is watching the minions on the right-hand side here, Tom. This is all Dignitas are after. Get some relics, get these minions pushing down right, and the moment that gets near that Titan, it could be go time.
QvoFred, I want to see QvoFred go push that one over, but the thing is he
mid.
has to stay in the middle lane.
Yeah.
That's why we usually see the mid Phoenix taken first, so you can see this 4-1 push regardless of which side you choose. Dignitas on the opposite end of where they got the last Phoenix, a little bit tougher, so it's a 5-man grouping.
Zyrhoes at the moment, just trying to use this soul gem to get his passive stacked and then look for the damage. Give a damage check. See how Rival are doing here. Deathwalker just off the mark with that kiss there, but will sustain back up. Love the choice from Vote to go for that Odysseus bow, though, just to make sure it stops these blinks being used as often.
Zyrhoes won't be looking for poke. He's going to be looking for the power. Collis gets hit by the soul gem, and that's going to be trouble for the Guardian. 11:25 on the ultimate, and Vote forced to the backside.
However,
it's trouble for Qvo. He's gone, dead, and remembered, but Arkkyl will send Collis to the same place.
Both the Hunters get involved, but look at the Titan, those fire minions. There's a lot of them in that base right now. Wlfy's had to go back, and that pushes Dig a little further forward, but there's not enough damage on the Phoenix.
Not enough at all. Arkkyl needs to find the opportunity. It's not his fault. Team Rival are doing a great job of playing defense, standing in front of that Phoenix, and most importantly, making sure not to get controlled so that they can deal with the Hunter.
Arkkyl walks in, looking to just focus the Phoenix down.
Oh!
Arkkyl gets iceicebaby with a big old crit, and that will be the Phoenix on the left-hand side.
iceicebaby walked into traffic and got hit by a truck that was walking in that direction anyway. QvoFred down for the count. Dignitas don't even mind. The jungler will be up in 15 seconds. But now, shifting over to the right side, Dignitas aren't even retreating here.
Here's a weakened Phoenix this time around, remember. Trixtank can tank up a Storm on the front, and with the ring, blocks 2 carries inside. Space and time off the mark, but it's more about the Phoenix, and they will get it as Variety is certain to fall unless he can get away.
Oh my goodness, Vote finds that last shot, but again, Variety giving his life. He's died twice here, Graham, and both of those times were for the betterment of the team. The first time was earlier when the Gold Fury was being taken by Rival. Variety goes in there by himself, does something arguably silly, but his team picks up the right Phoenix because
Where
of it.
is Zyrhoes? Hello, Zyrhoes! Calling Zyrhoes! Approaching final destination! Looking to end the game on his own. He gets used to avoid it. Jukes through, looking for the unstable. Can he end it on his own? No!
He doesn't have the ultimate. I would have loved that decision if he had the ultimate. The ultimate not available, limits his damage output. Great thinking by Team Dignitas. He just needed a little bit more oomph.
And now it's only 3 members of Dignitas alive here, Efto. We're going to have to see what they can do.
If he's on any other mage, game's over. Giannis, you can't portal the Titan.
That's fair. That's fair enough. Deathwalker walks a little bit far forward. Eats some crits, but tanky enough to sustain it. Block onto Arkkyl, puts him in trouble. And Arkkyl locked up in the air and destroyed by Vote. Pyromancer goes the way of Rival, and this is their one potential window back in towards the fight. Cubo, is he going to go for the end? No, not this time. I was like, he looked like he's walking down mid there. But Fire Giant for Rival.
QvoFred is going for it.
He can't do it. Not enough time. The members of Rival will be back there in time. He has to walk away. Dignitas, that was the sloppiest we've seen him this game going for the end there. Zyrhoes, I get the call, but Variety was already dead. He was down for a while. This has bought Rival a moment or two's notice to try and recover, finish off those final items.
I talk a lot about the lead and how it gives you an extra strike, right? When you're playing Smite and everything's even, each team, it's like sudden death. If everything's even at this point in the game, each team has 1 strike. Lose a team fight, lose the game. Dignitas, up as much as they were, earned themselves 2 strikes. There's 3 towers still up, 3 Phoenixes that haven't been tackled. Worst case scenario there is what happened. Zyrhoes goes for the kill, doesn't get it. Team Rival gets the Fire Giant. They've got 3 minutes left on the Fire Giant buff. They can't win the game with this. Dignitas can make that mistake and it won't hurt them.
Tom, look at where the wall placements are from Rival. They're all over the place. They need these wards down because the dropship is available.
Exactly.
Giannis has that ultimate. And if he can go through here, find the opportunity to just drop the whole team in, they can end the game. That Titan is too low to defend itself. It's going to need the whole team. And the whole team of Dig are heading down the left-hand side.
Flashbacks, this is exactly the pathing that Eager took when they did this years ago. Zero's gonna do it, shoots it down the middle, in comes Team Dignitas!
Oh, bursted down 2 already, but Cuvo, Trixtank, and of course, the last man Variety gets in, but they're not gonna do it! They get wiped! That's 60 seconds of death now for Dignitas! Phoenix, end? They can't end. They can't end. They can get a Phoenix.
Look at Cuvo.
It's only a Phoenix.
Cuvo's trying to figure out math right now. Zyrhoes will be up in 45. He's the quickest one.
Did they throw?
Everybody was waiting there. Cuvo's not very happy.
I think everyone's face now is, did they throw? Is this the strike that you were talking about? Did they just get caught? Is that what's happened here? With the banner, this is taking a long time, but they've got minions coming now. How many more seconds? 26
this
on
will be
Zyrhoes,
really close.
25 on Arkkyl. It's the 2 damage dealers that are coming up, Tom. Meanwhile, Wlfy's still on the left-hand side pushing out minions.
This is
a Phoenix
This
only.
is how we know that this isn't game, because the 2 side laners are pushing up those Phoenixes.
Wait a second, 3 men going in. 10 seconds, 7 seconds on Zyrhoes.
That's it.
The Titan's gonna go down. Dignitas through the game. They went for this dropship, and the dropship cost them their lives. Rival take game 1. Dignitas, mistakes were made.
Oh, if I'm on Dignitas, I am angry about that one. Rival were just gifted that victory. Oh my. The strike is gone. The game advantage is gone. Team Dignitas now even with Rival 1-1 in our best of 7.
But now this is just a best of 5. They've all played a best of 5 before. We put the last 2 games to bed, and that's the end of it. I'm more surprised that Dignitas did not realize that Rival are going to know that's coming. And they took 2 dives immediately through that pole.
Just waiting outside the door. That was really rough. It was all the vision that Rival had.
And that was all they needed. Respawn times are a thing in Smite. The higher level you are, the longer the game goes, the longer your respawn's going to be. Rival, get away with murder there.
Absolutely. Like I said, I mean, that was, we talk a lot about how sometimes games are won by teams being stronger or not. That was Rival capitalizing on Dig, making mistake, black and white.
Who do you think was MVP?
Zyrhoes.
Don't know if you guys can vote for him, but we'll find out. Maybe it was Zyrhoes for Team Rival. Not up to us to decide, though. It's up to you guys at home and the desk. Well, break down the end of that game.
Holy blank. You get it. Rival. Take game 1. You heard me right. Rival. What the hell, guys? What was that?
I mean, it's just sheer disbelief that backfired so horribly. Like, even if you're Dignitas in that position and you're looking at that Titan health and you're like, guys, they're probably expecting this, but there's like a 95% chance we can still just like storm through because the Titan was already so low. But that's sort of a punish against a failed play. It's just unreal.
Dignitas felt too comfortable for their own good. After a great late game team fight where Zyrhoes rips through with that Giannis ultimate, clipping so many members, finding the Fire Giant after getting the right side Phoenix, they felt too comfortable to try to end. 34 minutes in, Zyrhoes tries to be a hero by himself, and then 2.5 minutes later, that strife from Wlfy stopping Dignitas in their tracks.
Wlfy wins the game for Team Rival with that strife. I don't think Zyrhoes or Arkkyl got a relic off in that situation, and you have to be prepared, right? Like, if you're doing that, you have to know.
Go through with the Aegis.
Exactly. Like, you pre-Aegis, you pre-beads. Whatever you got to do, you have to be prepared to get hit as soon as you come through there. Both the damage dealers, I mean, the Titan lives with a sliver of HP. If Arkkyl or Zyrhoes live, Dignitas win that game. The only way that they lose is if those two die in that exact situation, and it all comes out Millhouse, basically. For Team Rival. Vote as your MVP, but chat already with some buyer's regret. I'm hearing word that after the replay, they realized they may have made a grave mistake, and I can't blame them for it. Wlfy, look, Vote had the great stats, had a great game. Great game. Wlfy's the MVP.
He even got the first blood after the early pressure that Dignitas wanted to do in that dueling, trying to invade the purple buff, really getting punished there. And that early kill onto Arkkyl didn't really provide to be fruitful for Rival at the end of the day, but they were able to at least find the victory in the later stages.
Man, I'm tired of the mid lane.
What do you
MVP.
Mean? Are you kidding me?
Give it to my boy. Yeah, no. Vote earns
You're
that,
gonna tell
man.
me with
Hunter
a straight
for
face
life.
that Wlfy winning the game for his team with that strife and unruly magic combo isn't deserving of MVP.
What
You're
about
actually going to tell me
iceicebaby?
that. iceicebaby played great too. Wlfy's your MVP. I don't care what anyone, chat included, says. He won the game with this strife right there. Oh, Repoll and Wlfy wins? Yeah, that's what I thought, guys.
Revo.
Yeah, Revo.
There
Wlfy,
Fake
a
news.
recount. Whatever you say, it's Rival now 1-1 with Team Dignitas, but that was the first game played in this set. Dignitas came in with that 1-0 victory coming from the winner's side bracket. Let's go a little bit earlier though. I mean, obviously the end of the game is going to be what everyone is going to remember here, but Dignitas was in control. Rival probably can't afford to let them get that much control every game and count on an incredible ending like that.
I think it was the Giannis pick that really allowed Dignitas to get off to that start in the mid game specifically. QvoFred was on fire on the Raven. It doesn't really matter what jungler Kivo is playing if Zyrhoes can pilot the Giannis. I'm also not a fan of Rival's draft. They're picking the Aphrodite after secondary ban phase when Odin was still available. It didn't seem to fit Deathwalker's style.
It felt miscoordinated over everything else, though. Going for the Aphrodite, I think that was possibly just an instance where Rival simply forgot about the Odin pick or felt as though... I mean, that's also just a confidence look if you think about it, because Rival could have also potentially just been like, look, we survived through the ring and everything's going to be A-okay for us. All we have to do is make it through that anti-heal portion, and if we can survive it out, then we're going to be able to just overwhelm them with our own damage, because I do think that Rival overall probably had a higher composition or a higher damage composition because of the Nemesis ultimate And so that would give them a slight edge, but I think that Dig were so flawlessly coordinated throughout the majority of that game, and a lot of that is contributed towards Trixtank and Zyrhoes. Trixtank mostly for controlling spacing with a lot of those cages. I think that he played a really important role throughout the duration of this set. It was just so unfortunate how that ended up for Dignitas in the end.
And we talk about it a lot when it comes to Giannis. Inconsistent damage in team fights, and everyone thinks of Unstable Vortex as that, but through space and time also contributes to that problem. Like you said, Toli, they win one team fight by Fire Giant because Zyrhoes hits 3 people, and that's an instantly won team fight. Then you feel like that's going to be every team fight, but it's nearly impossible to get that sort of value out of that ultimate every time, so it can be kind of misleading at times when you're going with a Giannis.
Whether or not you confirm the damage on the ultimate, it's also about the positioning. The goal is to chase down the opposition, and the goal for Rival was to last long in these team fights with the Aphrodite pick, but Dignitas were not going to allow that to happen with just the sheer positioning and the aggressiveness of the portals and then the QvoFred playing the Raven. Game 2, I'm not expecting Aphrodite from Deathwalker again, and I'm not expecting Zyrhoes to be allowed this Giannis again.
I completely agree. There's no way Rival give it up once more, because even though Rival win that game, for me, I feel like the onus to change is still on Rival's shoulders. It's still Rival who needs to make more adjustments than Dignitas. Dig just needs to go, let's just not mess up royally next time, and we'll be A-okay. Rival needs to get there.
I think, like, I bring it back to the comfort thing. Not only were they too comfortable in terms of how this game played out, but keep in mind, in the set, they have the 1-game lead. That could have played a little bit in towards their mentality. So now that we go into this Game 2, but technically Game 3 because the series is tied 1-1.
Are you guys